Hello, everyone. And sorry if you've been waiting. We had to start a little bit later than originally planned because yesterday, or actually Wednesday evening, my wife told me that she completely changed her plans for the week, which meant that as of Thursday, she wasn't working most of the day, and then today, Friday, she is working most of the week. If you're watching this on catch up, this means nothing to you. Um, and normally on a Friday, I don't do the school run. She does because she's not working, but now she's working. So therefore, anyway, the upshot of that was I did have to go to school first, and it was a lovely trip into school. So that was nice. It got a bit of fresh air, which is all very helpful. And just before we start as well, I was just asked by Marianne, who was busily doing her hair, ready for you, so that you saw her at her best.
No, this is
I hope
terrible.
you appreciate all of that. But before that, she said to me, "You don't have those problems," and I said, "Oh, but I do." And then she said, "Actually, do you have an indent at the top where your headphones are?" And I had to be honest and say yes. I have developed headset baldness. So across that particular part of my head, I'm now bald. But there you go.
Actually, I think I think it's great the way you have it so like almost like manicured. Like it looks like it might be needing a cut because it's looking a little bit more.
No, this is really short at the moment.
Really?
This is really short. Yeah. No, yeah.
Sometimes you have it slightly like neater.
I've just used more gel today.
Okay.
So yeah. For anyone that wants to feel, there you go. Quick little feel for you. It's basically like a hedgehog. I am Sonic's long lost cousin. There we go. We're going to be joined today by Mariya, and it's a pleasure to have her here with us. So let's introduce her to you all. Thank you for watching. I can see people watching. If you are and you want to ask questions during this, because we are actually live today, we quite often record this. Please do put a little comment in on whatever platform that you're watching this on, and ask questions. Even if it's, what did you have for breakfast? We don't mind. Mariya, thanks for joining us. Where are you coming? I love. Do you know what? Let's start by saying this. I love the cat T-shirt. I want that now.
Yeah, it's fine.
I love that.
It's from Ukraine.
It's from the Ukraine.
There was a Ukrainian girl who was making like custom clothes, and it is from her.
Oh,
it's like 4 years now for this T-shirt.
I don't feel like I particularly want to visit the Ukraine at the moment to go and buy a T-shirt.
Nobody would do it.
Yeah. I have watched with interest these people that go out there to help, and help with food and support and whatever, and get really close to a very dangerous situation near the front line, and I'm just full of admiration for anybody that actually does that. Especially like, have you watched any of those programs about medics, etc., that volunteer and give up their time to go out there? Unbelievable.
1 second, I need to grab my thoughts. I was not expecting this to come because usually people like avoid this topic, and I was not thinking about this. I must say that I do not have much time to watch something in particular, but I have my husband still there, so like I have news from first hand. He's not on a battle line, but he's still in Ukraine, and that's it. I'm not in Ukraine. I'm now in Amsterdam, so I must say that I was at the start of full-scale invasion. I was in Ukraine, but it was so too much to me.
Yeah.
Most of, how to say it, I'm sorry, English is not mother tongue.
It's fine. You know what? Just take your time, right? Because
Yeah,
people
it's
that are
okay.
watching, this isn't like some of those podcasts where people go at a million miles an hour. We've just got the time, so just take your
Yeah,
time.
okay. So when it all started, I actually didn't believe it that something will happen despite all the noises. But and I had actually a trip from Vinnytsia to Kiev on the 24th of February 22. I had a trip to see my friend, and early morning, like around 6 a.m., my husband woke me up and said, "Maria, you won't go anywhere. War started." And it was like, like you have a stone wall falling on you, and you just don't know what to do. And for me, most unbearable situation is when you cannot do anything about something. And let's say my psychological state was not at the point where I could do something about it. And then my friend come, she has two children. That time they were like 3 and 6, 3 and 6, something like this. And she asked me, can I help her? They were, they decided to leave. So on 8 March, we left Ukraine, and like my journey in Europe started. I don't think that if she wouldn't take me out, I would leave myself, because I was totally desperate, lost, and like numb at that moment. But she took me out, and then I was able like to manage something to do about it. Not about war, but about my personal survival and my family. I have 2 sons here in
What
Amsterdam.
what took you to Amsterdam?
Hmm?
How did you end up in Amsterdam?
Oh, it's it's quite a story. I am for 23 years. I was by now it's 23 years in IT. I started as a QA. It was a tested that times, and later I like self-educated myself to work with Oracle and databases and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And for decades I was working in this area, but lately in 14 2014 I decided I believe it is ADHD thing. Actually, I saw an announcement of Ukrainian university that they are starting the course of psychology mastership, and I just, I need it, and I enrolled, and I finished my second master degree. My first master degree is in applied math, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're a clever lady, right?
uh, I do not know. Is there a separate word for people who are smart in fast decision, but when it comes to something that needs thorough and really long, like investigation with a lot of details. At fourth year of applied math, I understood that I do not like math that much, as I thought. because there was like this functional analysis, all this many stages, proofs of some theory. You need a theorem. You need to go through a lot to prove that it is true or not. And I was always like, oh, I don't want. I don't want. But I finished my master degree in applied math. Nevertheless, actually, I finished it just because at this time I was working in Ukrainian National Academic Science Institute. It's a Hlushkov Institute in Kiev. It's actually the institute where first computer was made. Like the big one in a really big room. So 1 second, I lost my track. Yeah, I was there and I accidentally invented the way to approximate some cloud of dots with curve. It was just because I didn't know that it is impossible. And this way I finished master with applied math. Later I enrolled in postgraduate like PhD, but I never ended it because it was I get bored and I was like, I do not understand why I should prove that it is working if it is already working in real life. Like my colleagues there were using it. In some edge cases, like in 1% of cases, it gave garbage results, but in other 99% cases, it was working. So I just didn't see the point. I understand that from mathematical perspective, it is really important, but I guess I just have an engineering approach to the problem. If you can solve it, it works. Okay, we can go with this. How I ended up in Amsterdam.
I know there's someone like me here that
What? Sorry.
you're just like me. I'll be talking about something and then I'm like, oh, where was I?
But like years of working as psychology consultant and as an IT software developer taught me like to keep somewhere on a background idea where I am going to. So I in 2018 I started to provide psychological consulting and couple consulting.
Yeah.
And along with my main work as a software developer. And actually in 21st, in May, I left my software developer work to be full-time consulting psychologist. And it was like I have some savings. At first my consulting was not really like profitable, but it's by February 22 I had built proper like client base, etc., and I was totally fine. I didn't want to leave Ukraine. I wanted to live there. And then Russia came and I had to flee. It after we left Ukraine, it didn't took too much for me to understand that like it is for long, and I decided that for next plus minus 5 years I need some stable place for me and my family. Sadly, my husband couldn't leave Ukraine, and like so I had to build my life the way that I can provide existence, resources, etc., etc. And I decided that I need to switch back to software development. When it came to decide where I will be, as my older son and my ex-husband already were living in Netherlands for some time, I decided that I will find job in Netherlands. So at some point it will be easier for me and for my sons, etc., etc. I was lucky to find a job. It actually was really quick as a database developer here in Netherlands company in front. And I moved in Amsterdam. I was all the time hoping that I will be. I hear myself. It seems like I
A
hear
little bit
myself.
of echo. Yeah, there was a bit of echo there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can improve that. Okay.
Oh, that was for Graham.
Okay, so when I was back into development for first time, it was interesting, let's say, and enjoyable because everything is new, meaning country, and after a long break, also it was nice and entertaining. But at some point, it become like I want more. I want to apply my skills in people, like people skills, and now I'm in another company, doing what I love, like managing, not managing other people, but trying to build. Raham, you put it in your advertisement of this stream, like make things easy, something like this.
Explain.
For other people. Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
yeah. It's a bit probably what I do when I do my training, making something that's complicated into something simple or understandable.
Yeah.
That's what I just did there.
Yeah. It's fascinating. And firstly, thanks for sharing your journey with us, because I was quite enjoying just sitting there listening, because
It's fascinating. I think I don't know about you, Graham, but for me, someone said to me yesterday, you talk a lot, but you listen a lot. And I said, I have to talk a lot because if you talk and you listen, people will talk to you and then you learn. So for me, for me to fully be able to understand somebody, I've got to build up a picture of them and who they are and where they came from to understand and appreciate. I think quite often if we don't, I was feeding this back to someone the other day, that someone was talking about teaching and they said that people, if you ask them, then they'll know what they want. And I said, I don't believe people always don't know what they want. If you say to somebody, what do you want? And I said, sometimes you have to do a bit of detective work by speaking to people. You then, you know what I mean? You then work out.
most people don't know what they want.
No, and
I
I
know
think
what I want.
it's that two-way thing. Because a lot of people, I think, don't take the time to speak like we have with you, to actually then understand why you've done what you've done. Because for me, that's really fascinating. And I think when we know people's stories, it's like, oh wow.
Yeah, totally. It is interesting what you were saying about trying to make things simple for people, and this whole conversation about understanding, because we had this yesterday. The company shall remain nameless, but so often in the software world, people develop stuff thinking this will solve an answer, and it actually just makes things worse, because the pieces of the puzzle don't tie up. they don't line up, you know. And we were speaking to someone yesterday, and they'd created a new piece of software, but it didn't tie into their old piece of software, and so there was no connectivity between the two. So effectively, you still had to go and do stuff on the old bit of software, and then if you wanted to get it into the new bit of software, you had to export it out of the old bit of software. And
well, I think my face was a picture.
Well, my face was. I just sat there for the whole meeting, going, "What? Why?"
Well, the thing is, I mean, you understand all that stuff. For me, I was just thinking, because of how it had been explained, that this was going to solve my neurodivergent brains. Like, I can have everything in one place, don't have to mess around with lots of other things and things in clouds and all this kind of stuff. And then I heard you'll still have to use, and I looked at Graham and I went, now I've got 2 systems to use now, and this isn't fun. Like, literally, I went, this isn't fun. And the whole of it, like Graham was then trying to feed back to this person, this isn't good news for or anybody else that might be like me, or anyone for that matter.
No.
It was complicated. It made it more complicated because it was an extra step to, actually, as Graham and I are having a meeting, and I said, I'm just going to have a flow chart of a process, because I have to see it somewhere, because now I've got lots of lily pads all over the place with stuff. I can't, they're all floating around, so I need to put it down on paper, so I'll need to see it on paper to be able to start it.
I again hear myself. What is going on?
Yeah, Marianne, just mute yourself while Maria's speaking. I think it might be.
No, I don't hear from you, Graham. But
it's a little bit of feedback loop. So if we mute ourselves, it won't be there.
Okay. You mentioned actually the big problem. It is a really big problem because it is so many parts of puzzle I need now to present to build the whole picture. So I will start with a small puzzle puzzle piece. Recently, like last year, I registered officially my entrepreneurship to provide consulting to people who need it. And I called it Charlie Sosgard Holistic Consulting. Holistic. What you described right now is a typical situation of a lack of holistic perspective on the processes. So people see problem. Let's say, I don't know, some publication, you need to publish some stuff out there in different target systems. And say, oh, we will solve it. And we do not need actually to create something to manage creation of the content, because we already have it in another place. Yeah. And so what we have another system where you create content, and then you need to take this ready content, put it into another system, and hope it will be posted everywhere you need. As you see on the example, it was Ukrainian word. People do not often think about the whole process, and they do not think about it is usually like personal, like human interaction with the system. It's something, it goes for free and it's not relevant. You have your tool, you just take, pass, send. It's not like this. It's never like this. And in ideal, perfect situation, there will be like people who develop like extension for the system to cover another issues. They will think of proper integration, automated, or just push a button and it will be sent. But in real world, it is not usually the case. So people like create something. Oh, we solve your problem. No, you created one more.
And the crazy thing is, when we were having this conversation yesterday, was they realize that there's a problem there, because within the conversation, what we had was, yes, okay, so if you've got a problem with that, the function of getting that from there to there and doing this, what we're going to do, and this was the crazy bit for me, what we're going to do is we could help you with some human support. We'll do part of that process for you. And you think, hang on a minute, the biggest cost to any business is a human doing something, right? And yet what we were being told as well is the main reason we haven't continued this development is cost. The two things don't weigh up, right? If the problem is cost, so you're trying to streamline cost, develop your software properly, so actually you reduce support cost. You don't, you know.
Well, it was because as soon as I, as soon as I heard the you can speak to somebody bit, my head goes into, right, so now you're adding another step, so to speak, into it. And you know, excuse me, I just had to swap my bank account. I mean, the last week, 2 weeks for me, all this automation thing, it's great to a certain degree, and I get that, but there are times when I just swap my bank account from a complete mobile banking into a normal bank account. So Graham knows a long time ago I said that this was going to happen, and I kept putting it on the back burner because I built this thing into a massive thing that I had to swap over. Hearing that word swap over, I'm like, ugh. So I kept thinking, no, can't do it. A lot of it was because it kept saying my transactions wouldn't carry over. So I'm going, So then it said, all you need to do is you need to download this, that, or whatever. So anyway, of course, the time got closer and closer, and I thought, right, I'm up against it now. So I did all of that, and I thought, that was easy. But I actually tried. Their chat is great on their mobile thing. It is brilliant. If it's straightforward, what you want to know. What I wanted to say to them was, when I swap over, I just wanted to verbally say, is this what's going to happen? So every time I try to speak to someone, I would just get, you need to do it this way, you need to do it on the chat, you can email us. And I'm like, I just want to speak to somebody. Try to speak to somebody, and then it only rang for so long, then it cut off. So anyway, then it got to the point where it said swap, and my finger hovered over, and then it said it will take 3 to 5 days for your card to come. And I thought, I can't be without my card because I need it. So anyway, I thought, right, if I do it at the weekend, I don't need my card. So anyway, pressed swap, and it just swapped it. Literally nothing bad happened. I'd have done it a long time before if I'd have just been able to speak to somebody who would have said, nothing's going to happen, the world's not going to fall apart, and you will still be able to use your phone to pay. Because I was
in fact, basically, if you could have spoken to somebody and they'd have then taken you through the process with you, not a problem, right? So the problem is in dehumanizing customer experience and taking humans out of that when people need support and they need a hand. And as you say, Mariya, the other problem is that people approach the they approach their business without a holistic plan in the first place, right? I have the same conversation with everyone from the EDI sector about accessibility, right? And I come from a development world where we were developing software into institutions like universities, etc., where everything has to be accessible. And most software isn't accessible because the accessibility isn't built in the first place, right?
I'm sorry, when you say accessibility, what exactly do you mean by it?
By the fact it doesn't work for people who are visually impaired. It doesn't work for people who have hearing loss. It doesn't work for people who are neurodiverse. It hasn't got accessibility built in, which is mad, because by doing that, you exclude a massive proportion of society, right? We talk about it in terms of the purple pound in the UK, and it's a massive market. But even when you look at platforms like social media platforms and whatever, and we were discussing this the other day with some inclusion experts, if you upload a photo into several of the social media platforms, right, you have to write the alt text for it, right? We can develop now AI to do that quite effectively, right? It's laziness on the behalf of the platform developers to not build that in. It's a cost issue that's not built in. We are expecting people to do it, right? And people won't necessarily do it, because unless everybody does it, people go, well, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. So then it becomes an educational thing where we try and educate people that they need to put alt text in. The same with captions on videos. People won't necessarily do it, right? But if it just did it and then said, actually, just correct.
Say, if you don't know that stuff, like for me, all of that stuff is just a complete, I don't get it. But I'd want to be able to be doing it because I'd want things to be as accessible as possible.
Exactly. But it's down to, a lot of it is down to people develop stuff with their agenda in mind, not with the audience's agenda in mind. And they develop, and they're not thinking about everybody. They're not really thinking about everybody's user experience. They're thinking about, is this commercially solving a problem for us? Yeah.
It's always about revenue. It's always about revenue. And I want here to advocate for actually developers.
Yeah.
Okay. Developers usually are not making decision at all. I have experience when I had something in mind that could improve user experience, but I couldn't sell this idea to my management. I just couldn't. It was like, how many people do they need this? We won't put our efforts there. So it's not about developers not understanding, because if you will go out there, you will see a whole bunch of open source or some like personal software developed that actually target those problems, because like those people write it to solve their own problems, like what they have. And when you mentioned it, I was thinking, I mean, like accessibility issue for people with some issues like visual or hearing. I was thinking that it is actually not human friendly. Like it is for usual for not disabled people. It is also sometimes really frustrating experience. I mean, business doesn't care about all this fancy stuff, and lately they say it out loud, like giving up on the initiatives. They just care how much money they can do with it. And if they see like target audience for this particular feature is like this small, we won't care. I hope someday it will change, but now it is what it is.
It's interesting because I just had a conversation with somebody that's in our community, A Better Way of Life, and this person was particularly frustrated, and I completely understood that she was trying to support people, and she was trying to use her experience of ADHD, autism, fibromyalgia, PT, lots of things, and studying, and was particularly frustrated, and I completely get it, because if wasn't being listened to and had offered some help. And I probably sounded a bit cynical just because I've kind of really been around the block. And I said, the problem is if it's not on their agenda, and they said, what is the agenda? And I said, I don't know what the agenda is, but if it's not on the agenda, pretty much what you said, Mariya, if it's not on the agenda and it's going to cost money, then we're not going to put our interest there. And it is so frustrating, I think, if you are a neurodivergent, because you will see, well, hang on a minute. And of course, then it comes across that you're being difficult. And I said, I'll always own it now. If you find that something I'm saying to you is annoying you, ask yourself why it's annoying you, because it's probably that I'm challenging you with something that's glaringly obvious. And it is so frustrating when you feel so passionate, as you would have done. You've come up with a solution to something. I spotted something at my gym that on the app, if you want to cancel your class, I was there and I wanted to cancel it within an hour, but it wouldn't let me. So I went to the desk and I said, it won't let me. And they said, oh, no, it won't. If it's within an hour, you can't cancel. So I'm still trying to get onto my class for this morning and I can't get in. But I know if I got in the class, there'll be space. But it's because there's people that can't cancel. Then they can't cancel. So they don't go, and I can't book because there isn't space. So when I told them at the desk, they said, oh, well, that's just the way it is. So a friend of mine used to work doing that. She used to work on these systems, and she said, but there is a way that they will be able to do that, but nobody's passing on the message because people just go, oh, well, it's not a big problem. Well, I'm there going, but I can see that there would be a solution here, and there's a problem. But to management, I probably would be a pain of a customer, and I'm saying, but there's a problem here. Why is nobody looking at it?
It's fascinating. It's fascinating. And do you know what? The situation's just going to get worse because we have more and more reliance on software. We have more and more reliance on machines, and therefore,
you are
and we're taking away. The thing is, what it takes away from what you just described there is, if it let's go back years ago, before computers existed. If you ran a gym, someone would have had a piece of paper, booking list, people in slots and whatever, and you would have gone in and you'd gone, actually, could I get into that session? And someone would have been able to go, yeah, simple as. Right nowadays it's like, sorry, the system won't let you.
Computer says no.
But I'm a human, I can make that decision, etc. And the biggest problem there is we're taking away the ability of people to think logically in a situation.
I have I'm now 1 second. I understand what happened. I understood the situation Marianne described. And I believe I understand why they are doing it like this. And if I think about a problem, I can stop my mind from making a solution for it. And in this case, I believe they are not allowing to cancel lesson for you because they want payment. Yes, it is okay. I mean, if we are canceling less than in 1 hour, for example, me as a psychologist, I would love to get my payment.
Right, no, I would get a strike. So you're allowed 3 strikes in a month if you cancel when it was full. So there's like these criteria. So I kind of get why they wouldn't want that. But I'm saying, but actually, in the end, your customers aren't happy. Yeah.
Payment of canceled session, it's another topic. I want to focus on this particular case when Marianne said that if I won't be there, why don't you allow me to acknowledge that I won't be there so another person can book this session? And I think that it is lack of, as I said, holistic vision, because they think we do not have this person in lesson and we don't care if they cancel lesson in an hour, then we must bill them and that's it. And nobody thinks about other potential buyers for this slot. What they can do on a software level, they could, if you are canceling less than an hour before session, you still will be billed, and then they free the slot for other person to buy. And if I think further, I just cannot stop, sorry. If I think further, for example, if you cancel slot less than in an hour, and then someone booked it, then you get refund, like half of your session costs, etc. So it looks like a nice also marketing decision, actually, because if someone just want to jump in, they jump in. Yeah, and everyone is happy. But I don't think that people who create tasks for this person think on that level.
No. But then they should, and this is where I then say, can I speak to a manager? Trying to speak to a manager is just, I mean, in the end, I said I want it to go higher because I'm sort of saying to them, because I also said, I've got premium membership. I said, why don't we have it that if you have premium membership, you can book your classes, you get priority to book your classes. And I said, actually, in terms of you selling your premium membership, people surely are going to think, oh, I'll pay for a premium membership but literally, and this is where it's great you need people that think outside the box, if you want to call it that, because actually, as you said, it makes commercial sense instead of thinking sort of down the line. It's not just a now moment, and I think it's interesting because I never really would have thought, I studied psychology and I'm thinking about a proposal of something that I've just had that would seem anything but peoply. But actually, I think it's amazing how you can bring the two together, where if you get somebody that gets people and thinks in a different way, you can actually make changes because things don't have to be so rigid. Because that's really opened my mind up, what you said this morning.
I think it's so true. I mean, I'm constantly coming up with these ideas for software. I mean, that's why I've developed systems, or I haven't developed them, but I've architected systems in the past. I mean, the big one for me is things like trains, right? I just stand there at train stations and think, this logically doesn't make sense, right? I'm about to board a train that's half empty. and by the time I get to the other end, it will still be half empty, right? Here's a really great idea. Yes, it makes sense that you offer cheaper tickets in advance, the further in advance, so that you get people to book up earlier on. And then you put the price up. That makes sense. But if you haven't then filled the train, right, why not anybody that's been browsing, looking at that train journey, like, you know, it could be even sort of a couple of hours before, just go ping them something and go, do you want a train ticket? It's 20 quid. You can go to London, right? And do you know what? There'll be loads of people that go, do you know what? Let's just do it. Let's go to London today. Let's just hop on a train. That's brilliant. 20 quid. Let's just do it. I'd see the same for hotels where, you know, they've got half occupancy. Same for cinemas where you go to the cinema and you sit in a half empty cinema. What's the point? Have it so that you can be on a wait list. Bung. Right. Yes. I'm just going to go on a whim to the cinema. Do you know what? It'd be great if more people did that, because we'd have a more spontaneous society as well. We might just do things on a whim. It'd be great.
I think I have, and I understand. I need to step back a little bit. As I said, I'm Ukrainian, so I grow up I was born in Soviet Union actually, and I was growing up in post-Soviet Union country. And when I got here in Amsterdam, the most hard lesson for me was the difference of perception and how we see things. And I'm envy for European people who can allow themselves very steady, slow life. Actually, Graham complained about our life is too fast. No, your life is not fast, actually, especially when it comes to corporate world. It is so slow. It's horribly slow. It's annoying and frustratingly slow for me as a Ukrainian. We are living faster. We are faster in making decisions, even on corporate level, etc., etc. And I think, Marianne is with us. Okay.
Don't worry.
I think that if I think like a bigger picture of what you are saying, I understand your point. Like last minute ticket is cheaper. But here problem is that decision to make cheaper tickets in advance, it is a business decision. So we will be sure that we will have this amount of customers, whatever. If they will implement, like businesses will implement this last minute ticket for a really cheap price, a lot of people will do it. They will leave it for last minute. I mean, at least ADHD people will do it.
Yeah, but they will anyway.
No, I understand.
They will anyway. So I would say it's more inclusive.
Marianne, I think you cannot argue that you adjusted to where society lives and you try to do your plans ahead. At least I did. I don't know if you managed it, but if I, for example, think of visiting my husband, I take my tickets like 2-3 months ahead. Yes, I adjusted to it. I am how to say, I do not have much money to allow myself last minute. So from business perspective, it is understandable. And it is understandable why they do not do these huge discounts in the last minute. First reason, as I see it, is actually the way European society lives. Like it's predictable, it's quite steady, no big since before 22, actually nothing in Europe. Europe was like really a huge deal. So I don't think that they will do it, just from business perspective.
Oh yeah,
Because
I
they
know
will
why they
be
do it.
losing money.
I know why they don't do it, and you're absolutely right, because they're worried that everybody's going to just jump on the cheap.
Used to with holidays, because it used to be you booked last minute. Graham, can we just ask that question that I just put on here?
Yeah. Okay. So how do you manage to get managers to listen and create change?
Sorry, it's
You've only got 10
hysterical.
minutes.
Yeah, it's hysterical because you cannot make anybody listen if they are not interested. That's why I was saying when I was actively practicing as a psychologist, I was saying I love properly desperate people in consulting. They shouldn't be too desperate because it's really hard to get them listen, because usually there is a depression, etc. You need to first to bring person from this bottom of their life, and then they will be able to do something. But if they are not enough desperate, they will try to keep their way of living as it was. So they are not coming to change something. They are coming to find some way to make work things that stopped working.
Yep.
So if we speak about management, we always need to understand that most of the management is also not decision making, actually. And they usually, especially if it is a big business and they have a lot of stakeholders, they are like under the pressure of satisfying stakeholders, owners, or whatever, whoever there is. And when it comes to, for example, day initiatives or some changes like let's change this up this way, managers who you present your idea, they will need to go up and explain what profit, what revenue increase will have this particular initiative. And
I believe, I don't know whether you think this is right, but I believe, let's go back to the train thing, right?
mm-hmm.
So you're right. That's why they don't do the last minute thing. However, I believe there is a way to do the last minute thing, and the way to do it would be that it's gamified. So basically, you don't know whether you're going to be offered those tickets or not. So it's their decision to give you that option, right? Yeah, not the
Makes
other
sense.
way around. Yeah.
Like lottery.
Like the lottery. Yeah, you might, if you're in it, if you're using their app, you might be the one that month gets offered cheap tickets or not, right? Then it's a great way to get you to use their app, and it's a great way to get you to constantly be looking at maybe booking trains. Now, the reason that you can't change people that don't have the vision in the first place, that's why we need visionaries. That's why we need disruptors. If we take it back to the train analogy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, at one point, you couldn't on the mainstream train apps buy split tickets. Then what came along? People who went, do you know what? We're going to offer split tickets, right? This is an option in the UK where you can buy more. You can split your journey into a journey to there and then a journey to there, and you end up with 2 tickets, but it saves you money, right? And it's to do with the way that the train lines are owned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that disruption happened, because someone understood that they could save the consumer money by offering something different and doing it in a different way. Now all of the mainstream apps offer you split tickets
as well, and you don't have to do anything to get it.
Correct.
Because it would be too much for.
And that is why we need people to disrupt. We need people to have. We need business owners who have that holistic vision and go.
We need them, but I'm sorry for ruining your picture of future wonderful life. I believe you already noticed it. My husband told me once that the way I'm working with people as a psychologist, I won't be rich. Never. I will be rich never, like in my life, because my point in working with them is to teach them to manage their life on their own.
Yes.
I do not try to tie them to me or something. I just help them to manage, to create their own strategies to deal with their challenges. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that people who share same approach to life to people, they are not money driven.
No, totally.
So it is like close to zero chance that those people will get to the point where they will be listened to.
Well, I'm going to argue with you there, because I'm going to argue with you on two fronts. One, you said you won't ever be rich. You're far richer than any of those people that got any of that money, because being rich in what, right? You can be rich in life, but
Money.
it doesn't always have to be money. It doesn't always have to be money,
I
right?
know, but
there's a lot of people. Money helps.
We need money to live this life.
But
we are the only species who need money to live.
But you know what? There will be enough people who will support you in your way of doing something, and that's important, right? And it's partly why, drawing this to a close today, and it's been fantastic to listen to. That's partly why we created the Better Way of Life community, because we just felt there's a lot of people out there who are trying to do really great stuff, but they're not shouty people. Their want to do something doesn't come from a place of wanting to shout about it and make lots of money, right? And we're surrounded on platforms like LinkedIn with shouty people who just want to make more and more money and tell everybody that you've got to do it this way, got to do it that way, and whatever.
And not solving a lot of problems. A bit like you said, Mariya. Really, it should be that people are able to be. I could sell people loads more for what I do, and even people have said to me before, "Why don't you do this and this?" I spoke to somebody on the phone the other day, made no money from it whatsoever, because I said, "Okay, you might need this qualification, you might not." In the end, I said, "You don't really need it. I think it would be good based on what you've said." But that's fine, because morally, I know that I've done the right thing.
Yep.
If everybody did that a bit more, I feel like we wouldn't all be spending money on stuff we just don't need to spend.
Preach. And on that note, it's been lovely to meet you. We will carry on the conversation, not here, but somewhere else.
Can I drop the last bomb? Some way to change world is that if someone on the top of a food chain will have a close friend he trusts who is like us. Yes. This is the only realistic way I see it.
That's absolutely true.
Someone did that for me. So
yeah. Folks, thanks for watching today. I hope you've enjoyed that. What a great conversation. It went in so many different directions as well, which it always does. But that's what we do here. Humans are messy. We like to be messy on this show. We like to, it's not all scripted. It's not all kind of perfect and sit in a nice little box.
Well, my dog made an appearance as well.
And the dog made an appearance as well. If you like that, do let other people know. We'll be back again, same time, same place. Well, actually, earlier next week will be at 8 o'clock. But until then, bye for now.
Oh, look at that.